in the October. Fisk, who is a reporter reporting from Erbil, Iraq. U.S. military says misdirected airstrike in northern Syria killed 18 Allied fighters. So, Howard Dean and the rest of you, yay, airstrike folks, is this helping the regime change? Whoops. U.S. Central Command said Thursday that coalition aircraft were given the wrong coordinates by the Kurdish-Syrian Democratic Forces for a strike intended to target militants south of the stronghold in Tabqa, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, I'm sorry. The coalition's deepest condolences go out to the members of the SDF and their families. The coalition is in close contact with their SDF partners who have expressed a strong desire to remain focused on the fight against ISIS despite this tragic incident. Central Command said in a statement, the coalition is assessing the case of the incident and will implement appropriate safeguards to prevent similar incidents in the future. Any video footage of this? Brian Williams, got any footage of this, or is he too busy lying about flying around in war zones? And I'm sure if you lost a family member, this statement from CENTCOM would probably, oh, I feel better. It was not clear how many such friendly fire strikes have happened since the campaign began against the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria in 2014. Congress didn't approve any of this. The coalition releases monthly reports of civilian casualties from airstrikes, but those confirmed and under investigation. But friendly fire strikes are tracked internally, said U.S. Army Colonel Joe Skoroka, a Baghdad-based spokesman for the coalition. The coalition takes each of these incidents very seriously, but we do not keep cumulative data on them like we do civilian casualties because they happen so infrequently. Comforting. The London-based monitoring group Air Wars, which works with the coalition to track airstrike casualties, has found 37 reported friendly fire strikes in Iraq and Syria since 2014. 4 had been confirmed by the coalition, including the one in Tabqa, according to Air Wars Director Chris Wood. The others are a strike on December 18, 2015 in Fallujah that killed at least 9 Iraqi soldiers and injured 32 more. A strike on September 17, 2016 in al-Tharda, Syria that killed at least 15 friendly Syrian forces. A strike on October 5, 2016 south of Mosul that killed 18 friendly Sunni tribal fighters. It's very difficult to know how many more friendly fire events there have been since the coalition does not disclose that information, Wood said. This is just like unreal, man. Like it just, is this good regime change? Just, hey, collateral damage is part of war. Okay, then maybe let's not do war. Let's try to get, let's try to deal with Assad a different way because this doesn't work. This isn't working. The mother of all bombs, that thing, how much does this cost? How many lives is this? What is this doing? More have been reported in Iraq, where there have been 224 to 419 suspected friendly fire casualties from coalition strikes than in Syria, where there have been 35 to 86, he said. Wood said part of the reason the estimates vary so much is that it's not clear who the coalition considers combatants. So they interviewed one of the fighters who was in the Hajj Ali and recalled the horror of the airstrike. Islamic State had attacked 3 hours earlier, but the fighters repelled the militants, he said. They were meeting in a house to regroup when the strike hit. Said Allah Zadan, 32, was further back from the front line. The next morning, Zadan went to the scene of the collapsed house to retrieve the bodies which he recognized in the rubble. He said 21 tribal fighters were killed and 7 more wounded. Only 1 man survived. It was a disaster for nothing, Zadan said. Later, the tribal fighters were contacted by Iraqi officials who explained that the strike was a mistake. The coalition said someone gave them the wrong location, but they won't say who did it. Zidane said. After the strike, Zidane said tribal fighters worried they might be hit again. Yeah. Would you want to do that? Airstrikes, most of the time, they're helping us. We cannot say we don't trust the coalition because they're helping a lot of us on the front lines, he said. But the victim families have not been compensated by Iraqi or coalition officials. Zidane heard about the misdirected strike in Syria and said the coalition's announcement upset him. They apologized for what happened in Syria, but they never apologized for what they did to us. That upsets me. This is just more of the same. And everyone wants to get into this. I'm going to keep reporting on this as best I can and hope that YouTube doesn't demonetize it. And hats off to the handful of people that are saying that are in power that are saying this is a bad thing. What is this going to do? How is this going to help? Other than, and the whole regime change thing again. Oh, Assad's evil. Yeah, so's the Saudi government. They do awful torture shit. They treat women awfully. They did fucking do whatever they want, but they give us oil, so we don't need to change that regime. This is like, it makes me mad, and I'm bewildered at this, that no one else is talking about this on a grand scale. And then everyone on the left, I mean, again, I've been reading Death of the Liberal Class. I've mentioned this book numerous times by Chris Hedges. They started doing this in World War I. There were people who did not want us to get involved in World War I. It was already happening in Europe, and they're like, it's just for, they were literally said it was a Wall Street war. We don't want to get involved. And then they started this whole propaganda machine, and they got artists and people on the left and the liberal elites to jump in, and they got a hold of then newspapers and magazines, and they got everybody buying it. And they've been doing that for 100 years. We're just bred to be consumers and not ask a lot of questions. We're not trained to have critical thought. And if you ask a question, you are shouted down. Howard Dean's reaction and other people's reaction to Tulsi Gabbard, this happened to anti-war people in 1917 or whenever ramping up to the World War I. They've been doing, it's the same playbook, man. Thanks for watching, you guys. Go to the Patreon to support this. A bunch of you have jumped onto the Patreon. Thank you so much. I am starting to release more rewards this month, more bonus content. Thank you for supporting this. Like and subscribe and share it. And all of you that have just come over from the Jimmy Dore Show, welcome. I will be as honest with you as I can. I might not get it right. I might make a mistake, but I'll admit I made a mistake. And I won't be an idiot. And you can at least know what I'm saying. I believe what I'm saying. Thanks for watching.